The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it is here. It is nearly game day. Game night, in this case. Thursday night football is just over 48 hours away. And this is Mick Shots. This is our own little pregame show. Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola. And Everson, look at Mickey. You can tell it's game week.
He's
Mickey has
so
a tie
cute,
on.
Isn't he? Oh, my goodness. I would date him if I was single. You look good,
I wore
man.
it just for you guys. It has nothing to do with TV shows I have to do, right?
Well, you know, you were almost late, and we were going to dock your pay.
That's right.
Well,
I was almost showing up at 1:30 until William goes, it's 12:30.
There's a show with your name on it. You need to be in there.
Right?
All right.
Well, I see Everson's dressed up, too, by the way.
Yes, thank you very much. You see my
look at that.
boyish-looking in the HBCU Hall of Fame shirt. You know, just kind of supporting this weekend. Thanks for this.
How did it go?
It went so well, man. I had so much fun until they started. They showed me a picture of the last class of Hall of Famers. And see, I never watched this stuff because, you know, me and my dad made this promise to each other. I got pissed.
Because?
Atwater?
Oh, you mean the NFL?
Not the.
I thought you were talking about
Atwater.
The Black College Hall of Fame. Oh, I know.
Atwater. Come on, man. This is killing me.
And
I got depressed right away.
And John Lynch?
Oh, see, I wasn't going to say that. But, dude, John Lynch, come on, man. What's going on, man? What do I need to do? What do I need to do?
Instead of you or Darren Woodson?
Give me a break on that. Me or Darren Woodson. I wouldn't even think about Darren because I'm selfish. But no. Of course, though. Of course. Darren Woodson. John Lynch over Darren Woodson. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. I'm just getting, I walked out. It was at the pro shop where they had the T-shirt.
With all the guys' names on it.
Yeah, they got the pictures. And I had no idea. So I'm looking at it, and here's Robert Brazile, who had just made it after being dogged out for decades. They probably put him in. And so, you know, he was up when I was up for the one time. And so he made it along with Kramer, which was amazing because if you're not going to make it, then those two guys were long overdue. So he comes up to me, hey, man, calm down. So he got like pat me on my chest, you know, calm down, man. I'm sitting up there. All I could say was Atwater. That's all I could say. I sound like I was ordering a drink or something.
But at least tell me you went into the section where your picture was on the wall.
Oh, I've seen that already.
Okay.
Yeah, that's no, I've always.
I was waiting for your interview. I was watching the game.
No, I didn't make the game. No,
you didn't?
I left the game early. I participated in everything up until that.
Oh, okay.
See,
and when I tell you,
that's where you're making your mistake. You got to get as much attention as possible. I mean, it worked for Lynn Swan, didn't it?
No, it worked for Drew. It worked for Drew.
Well,
yeah, Drew a little bit more dramatically. Yes.
Well, going way back, Lynn Swan, he's a sideline reporter. He keeps everybody, he's top of mind to everybody.
Hey, I did the interview on NFL Network.
That's why you're on Mick Shots.
I did the interview on the NFL Network leading up to the game, which was hilarious. I cracked on Doug Williams' new hair. I don't know how the heck you get that old and you got twists in your head all of a sudden. So I had to crack on him in that regard. But no, really had a great time.
Good.
And I have to give a shout out to Doug and James Shaq Harris. These guys have kept this thing going, man, to where HBCUs are really getting the love that we would hope that they were gotten way back then. I mean, we're talking about 30 years, of maybe even 40 years of being ignored. I know at Grambling, we never got a look from a scout after Doug Williams left in 1977. And that was it. We were like, no one got drafted from Grambling, no one got signed. It was just pretty average. I think we had a couple of guys that got signed late round. But, you know, when you look at those 3 years after that, when I was there after Doug left, we were a good squad, and we hardly got any recognition, and Grambling wasn't the only team. We're the flagship of black college football. And for us to get that treatment, then you wouldn't think to what happened to FAMU or Jackson State, who are also great programs. So it's good to see Doug and Shaq and David Baker.
Yes.
Yeah.
David Baker is the man. He can make you feel good about not making the Hall of Fame. He can make you feel good about anything. And he is very good at really being positive. You could call it one way. You could say that he's, just able to use those words to keep you at bay. But at the same time, the words that he spoke, they're true. And you can't, no matter how you phrase it, truth is truth. And I like the way that he supports us.
Biggest man I think I've ever seen.
He is a very large man, and Everson would love for that very large man to fill the
knock his
space.
door.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, as far as the game is concerned that you missed, Grambling did win over Tennessee State.
Did.
Eddie George's Tennessee State squad,
right.
16-10.
Too tall Jones.
Too tall.
Right.
But,
Yes.
but Eddie George is in his first year as the head coach at Tennessee
we
State.
spanked him pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16-10.
16-10.
Run away.
We dominated that game. Yes, that's right. Thank you very much.
Okay, so how about this game?
Yes.
Thursday night, Cowboys and the Bucs. I'm headed there on Wednesday, and Mickey, you are headed there too.
Looks that way at this point, yes.
Okay, all right.
He's headed there, but he needs a place to stay, Bill.
There's also another level in there. I had to do my little test, so we'll
okay.
make sure nothing pops up on my phone that
what
says
you mean?
Jim Maurer.
Okay.
Oh, what do you mean, like?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope that sucker comes back negative.
Yeah,
That'd be
for our sake.
For our sake. Forget the other guys, just for us.
I don't care about the trip. We're in the same room with you for an hour.
Well, that's true too.
And he definitely won't be staying with you, Bill, if he does test positive.
He's not staying with me regardless.
He's not going anyway.
I'm going.
You just ain't staying
You
with
ain't
him.
staying
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that is.
All right, so we've had an active day already. The head coach met with the media this morning. The team has virtual player availability later this afternoon.
Correct.
And Jerry and Steven were over at the stadium with the debut of the
Miller Lighthouse.
That's right, just moments ago, speaking with the media, I'm sure. And so lots to talk about.
So where do you want to start? Zack Martin?
That's right. That's where I want to start right there.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to talk about that, have we?
No, we have not. And
So-
I'm nervous.
Yeah, and I think the right term for this, it's highly unlikely he'll be available. There is a slim chance, which Jerry is kind of latching onto with hope, that
And a
he
strong
can
narrative.
he can be
He's put it out there.
asymptomatic and then test negative twice within a 48-hour period before the game.
Now, is it negative twice within a 48-hour period or 24 hours
every
apart?
24 hours. So 24 hours.
So
yeah.
he could be, okay, we could take it, he would have to be.
This is the way Jerry's looking at it.
Okay, but he could be asymptomatic for
Right.
2 days, like yesterday and today.
Or today and tomorrow.
Up until 8 a.m. tomorrow, let's say.
Okay.
8 a.m. Wednesday, he does a test that's negative.
Right.
He can then do a test at 8:01 a.m. Thursday
Right.
and be negative, and then he gets on a plane and goes to Tampa.
And Air Jerry comes and picks him up.
Damn right.
Right? And somebody
that would be taking it right to the limit.
Somebody was talking to I heard him saying today, he goes, well, the team's leaving on Wednesday, and it seems like it would be impossible for him to, and it's like, Air Jerry?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Air Jerry can pick him up at 3 in the afternoon
That's
and
right.
have him there ready, dressed for an 8 o'clock start.
Forget
Eastern
8
time.
a.m. The deadline is 3 p.m.
Yes.
basically on
Yes.
Thursday
Yeah.
for his second
Or they
negative
can
test.
fly him there, keep him somewhere
That's what I'm
else,
talking
stash
about.
him.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
So-
I wouldn't even wait for the test. He's going to be there just to
Test there, right? Doesn't matter where you test.
Does not.
So that's the slim chance that is available, and I think that's why Mike McCarthy keeps saying, it's as close to no as close can be.
Right.
And I understand what he's saying. Now the other thing is it's good that there's a mixed message out there. They don't have to tell Tampa Bay what's going on, right? There's no need to do that. Although the COVID list is official on the NFL wire. So that's where Zach is. and his replacement, Connor McGovern, would go in and play guard. And, here's the thing that I did myself a little research, Bill.
Okay.
And I saw that in preseason games, he played in all 4. He totaled 132 snaps. I'll guarantee you his 132 snaps are more than anybody else on that offensive line. Maybe Biotish. I haven't checked his out, right? He had 132 snaps, 90 of them in the 3 games he started. So it wasn't like it was scrub time, right? He was playing against starters, and he did start in the first game, the second game, and the 4th game. So that's a lot of snaps. So that's why I think Mike said.
How did he grade out?
Mike said Connor is ready to go. So
did he go up against Ndamukong Suh in any of those games?
I don't think so, and I understand that part of it. The other part, from an experience standpoint, he did start 8 games last year. So it's not like sending Terrence Steele out there as an undrafted rookie like they did at tackle last year.
And he also played against Jacksonville, correct?
Yes, Jacksonville. And
Jacksonville's
they had
front 4. Their first
their defense was in there, right?
Yes.
So, yes. And he started the last 8 games last year. So, he was a 3rd-round pick. They were big on him. Now, I'm not saying he's 4-time All-Pro Zack Martin
already,
but it's at least a guy that has some experience, unlike last year when they just threw a guy in there to the Wolves. He's looked good in the preseason, I thought. So he'll have his hands full. Tyler Biotish will have his hands full.
Connor Williams
will have his hands full. And it's hard to, and you tell me, it's hard to help the guys inside, right? You can help the tackles. It's hard to help the guys. You might be able to help one side, right?
Yes.
But you can't help both guards.
You got to overload to do something.
Right.
You have to overload to protect. So if you overload one way, you're going to be weak the other way. Just math.
And even if you use 2 tight ends, chances are the tight end's helping the tackle. I don't know that you want to turn the tight end loose on a defensive end while the tackle helps inside.
And not to mention that hurts you on your pass game as well.
Right.
Now you're limited with the different wide receivers that you have.
Yeah.
You're less one wide receiver, and now you've got a tight end. Well, you've got great tight ends, but they're not Gallup or CD or Amari.
And that's one of the concerning things against this Tampa Bay defense, Todd Bowles' defense. If you look at Devin White, one of their inside linebackers, who may be one of the best inside linebackers in the league.
Not just an inside linebacker.
Yeah, he was the 5th pick in the draft in 2019, and these are his numbers from last year. Okay, we talk all this stuff about Tom Brady and the Bucs offense. Well, their defense was a top 5 defense in the league last year. And Devin White, from an inside linebacker position, had 9 sacks last year. 15 tackles for loss, 16 quarterback pressures, the leading tackler on the team. And my concern, without a Zack Martin in the middle of that Cowboys offensive line, where you've got McGovern at right guard, Biotish at center, a young player who doesn't have a full season of starting under his belt, neither does McGovern, and Connor Williams at left guard is what Todd Bowles might bring as far as some blitz packages.
And then
licking their chops.
And then not to mention JPP had 9.5 sacks playing on I think it was a foot that he needed surgery. No, it was a knee that needed surgery after the season. And then their other defensive end, Shaquille Barrett, had 8 sacks. Sue had 6 with 19 quarterback hits.
That's
by the way,
year for Sue.
And Vita Vea, who only played in 5 games last year, had 2 sacks in those 5 games. So do the math on what he would have done if he would have played the full season. He would have had at least 6 sacks.
Now, the weird thing about Tampa Bay, 12 games into the season, they were 7-5. And then they went on a streak and won all the rest, right?
The offense caught up.
The final 4 games, and then however many playoff did they had to play.
They played 4. They played Washington in the first round.
Yeah. So they won 8 consecutive games after they started off 7-5.
And they had lost 3 out of their last 4 heading into December, which included like a 38-3 loss to New Orleans at home in the month of November.
And then they lost back-to-back games to Kansas City and The Rams. And I think it was where did I write it down? I think it was like the same score, 27-24, something like that. So, yeah.
I mean, just for them to make it to the Super Bowl alone, that to me lets you know that Todd Bowles is just another Bill Belichick. That's all he is. He's a guy that knows how to work for his offense. Your defense can work for your offense. You keep blowing it offensively. You keep on making these turnovers. You put us in a bad position. Defensively, we're going to be okay. We're going to hold it to 3. We're going to hold the damage to a minimum if we can. And usually they do with that kind of defense. And all that does is give the offense just another chance over and over again. We did it in New York all the time. Parcells called his game plan in that manner. We're not going to be throwing a bunch of deep passes. We're not going to be trying a bunch of stuff. We're going to play the field position game with a good running game, solid short passes, and let the defense hold it down for us until we're able to make our move.
And see,
that's the way it's always been.
And that was the problem last year. We can talk about the injuries on the Cowboys' offense last year, the guys they were missing, the offensive lineman, Dak, the tight end. That didn't mean the defense had to finish 31st against the run.
Right.
The defense could have kind of rescued it.
Held their ground.
Right,
yes.
right. And they didn't.
They did not.
They failed miserably.
And so what you had was, let's just face it, when you're old, we've been there. It takes you a little while to warm up a little bit. And I don't mean just for like a practice. I mean just for a season. And as Brady started to kind of get the feel of that offense, get his own feel, his defense gave him game after game to be able to come back and not have a bunch of pressure on him to make all the plays. So eventually they started to shore up offensively, and the defense is like, okay, welcome to the club. Welcome to the season.
So here's the other part of this, as Bill Parcells would always say, the other side of the pancake. So if you're starting your backup at right guard, now who's the backup to the backup, right? Because you got to have another guy. Mike McCarthy sounded encouraging that Brandon Knight would come off the COVID list in time
he's on the COVID list
ready
too.
to play. He would have been the immediate backup guard, and he was a high-risk close contact.
Okay.
So they had to put him on.
And that's different from having COVID.
Right, yeah. And if you're vaccinated, then you can get off quicker.
Gotcha.
So they are kind of counting on him being eligible to play, so he would be the backup guard. Because if he's out and Zach's out, that would leave Matt Forniak, the 7th-round draft choice rookie, who was a guard at Nebraska. The Cowboys moved him to center. He's kind of played both in training camp. He would be the next guy up if they didn't think either of those tackles could play guard. I think Nsekhe's played a whole bunch of things, but my injury report, the first injury report of the season, had Ty Nsekhe limited with a foot injury. So that guy's got to get healthy.
Yeah.
They cannot have their backup tackle once again missing like they did last year with Cam Irving.
Yeah, well, we got enough money to go out and buy another one.
Yeah, if there's one of it. No one leaves offensive linemen worth anything out there in free agency. Yeah. If you look at the cuts and look at offensive tackles,
or even sitting on a practice squad somewhere where you can go get.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can protect them, but they don't. I mean, they just signed a guy that's a tackle to the practice squad just for numbers to get through this week.
See, here's what's happening as far as the backup offensive linemen. They're getting hurt around the league. Okay, they were on the 53-man roster, and this is how you stash offensive linemen now. You stick them because of the new rules on the injured reserve where they just have to sit out 3 weeks. In fact, Tampa Bay is a great example of it. I was looking at their roster today on their offensive line. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 offensive linemen on injured reserve. So they don't have to stash them on their practice squad where someone can come get them. Now, they probably legitimately have injuries, whatever, but that's how. Otherwise, they would have to cut them, okay, if they're hurt, or they have to keep them on their 53 if they're hurt after that September 1st date, or if you put them on injured reserve before that, they're out for the year. Well, here's how you stash guys for a 17-game season.
What do you think about that, Spags? They wouldn't do that in the NFL, would they? How dare they?
The reason the IR rule
And I'm not saying that
changed.
Tampa Bay is the Lone Ranger on that.
Oh,
I think
no.
that's going on all around the league.
The
right
reason the IR rule changed before these last 2 seasons now because of COVID, it was because when he was playing, they were stashing guys just the way you sounded on IR. They only had to be there 4 weeks. And so they can stash a guy, and they're thinking, okay, in 4 weeks, and they were coming up with phony injuries, by the way. In 4 weeks, we're going to lose somebody, and I can get him back on the 53 or whatever it was back then. I could remember there was a game, I want to say late 80s. I forgot who the quarterback was. They were playing Denver, I want to say, and they told him, we're going to call a quarterback run play. You run towards our bench because the camera's facing the field, and just before you go out of bounds, you grab your hamstring, and then we'll be able to keep your rights and put you on IR. Well, the quarterback forgot to, they ran the play. He forgot to grab his hamstring. And I'm going, if he's not smart enough to remember that, I don't know if I want him on my roster.
What if he grabbed the wrong hamstring?
Yeah, or the wrong one, right? But that's what was going on. And if you remember then in the early 90s, they started sending an independent physician to watch practice to make sure the guys that were on IR weren't out there working. Right, and to double check the injury to make sure it was
the head
legitimate.
coaches hated that.
Oh, sure.
Have someone monitoring my practice? What is wrong with you?
So really, the only returnable guy the Cowboys have on IR right now is Josh Ball. He can come back after 3, and he was legitimately hurt with a high ankle sprain.
Right.
And they didn't have anybody else on the practice squad really until they had Isaac Alicorn, but he was playing guard. He wasn't playing tackle. And then they signed some guy, Aviante
Collins,
thank you.
TCU.
Oh, is that where he's at? So he was close.
That seems like proximity has its
The Larry Brown move. Oh, save Jerry some money. It's the 12th round. Take somebody close. He can drive here.
Yeah, and give him 24. What the hell? Just give him any number. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break here. We're going to come back. I'm seeing that Tom Brady has just had his press conference, and I'm thinking Micah Parsons' number may be playing tricks on Tom Brady because he is not just talking with the media. He is on his soapbox right now. We'll talk about that when we come back in a moment.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hey Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Mixed Shots.
Check out the new Miller Lighthouse located outside of AT&T Stadium where Dallas Cowboys game day traditions are born. Enjoy yard games, Dallas Cowboy cheerleader performances, beer gardens, and more. For more information, visit attstadium.com/Miller Lighthouse. Miller Lighthouse, your tailgate just got jealous.
That was flawless, yet still uninspiring.
Uninspiring. They just had their Miller Lite press conference.
The ribbon cutting for it.
Ribbon cutting.
I think that's what how they described it.
Oh,
that's
ribbon cutting.
I saw these in Joe Trahan's office in PR. They had these gigantic scissors.
Is that what that had to be?
And I go, oh, that was what it was for. Okay.
Yep. So I'm scanning the Twitterverse to see if Jerry has said anything to the media out there that has warranted any tweets. I am also following Tampa Bay media this week, and Bucs quarterback Tom Brady would like to reiterate one last time how much he doesn't like the new number change rule. To quote him, "I don't want to get into it. I've already talked ad nauseum about it, other than I think it's this is all in all caps, stupid rule." Just to put it out there one more time.
Who does he sound like? Spags. Sound like that old dude. Get off my lawn.
Well, there's Brady for 21 years in this league. He's been able to identify the linebacker. Oh, he's a 50 number, okay?
Right.
And now you got number 11,
Yeah,
Parsons.
mess
you
up
got
his
number
coverage.
9,
Mess up his
Jalen.
coverage.
And then there's a safety, number 6, Donovan Wilson, who kind of sometimes looks like a linebacker. And I've got to identify these guys.
And there's a 14 that's a linebacker, Jabril
That's
Cox.
right. Now they've given us, and so he's been studying the Cowboys all preseason. And number 40, was it 48? Was that what was Jabril?
48.
Now he's
turned
number
into
14,
14,
yeah.
and now who knows what they're going to be wearing on Thursday night?
Even got a cornerback wearing 7.
Trayvon.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So if you got your choice to change your number, would you have changed
Number
it?
9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, number 9. That's a great
I think
number.
we talked
Single
about
numbers
that.
for
You're
DBs
right.
are the best. So you just can't beat that. Now, if you're going to get a number for a DB, well, really, it doesn't matter if you're a DB or not. I wanted 22. Everybody wanted 22.
Really?
That was Bob Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, everybody wanted 22. If you were the man, you wanted 22. And then when Dorsett came, all of a sudden everybody wanted 33.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that just depended on the player himself. I mean, these were iconic players.
That's right.
Bob Hayes, gold medal, Super Bowl. Come on. Everybody wanted to be the fastest man in the world, even though I was not close to that.
33 was my junior high basketball number.
Mine, too.
It's my high school basketball
Well,
number.
that was from at
No
the
wonder
time.
we're together.
At the time, Lou Alcindor.
Right.
That's really what I got 33
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And Larry Bird.
Not at the time.
So you mentioned Todd Bowles, their defensive coordinator, former Cowboy defensive
Secondary coach.
If I'm not mistaken,
Secondary.
he coached at Grambling for a while with Doug Williams as well.
Really?
Yes.
So they've got 3 former Cowboy assistants. Casey Rogers was the Cowboys' defensive line coach, and their specialist coach,
Chris Bonio.
Chris Bonio.
Wow, I know that name.
Yeah. Got himself a Super Bowl ring, as a matter of fact. So good for Chris. Yeah, he was the kicking coach here.
I remember.
He was the guy that spoke up for I'm going to blank out. The Cowboys kicker in 2011 when he was a rookie. Bailey.
Dan Bailey.
He was the one that stuck his neck out
That's right.
for Dan Bailey, saying this guy's better than everybody else we've brought in there, right?
He was something else.
And then poor Bonio, this guy was kicking serious, important field goals that rookie year, and he was like, "Oh, my job's on the line."
You know, that was, you talk about a shooting star. I thought he was just one of the best kickers we had, and I think it wasn't just his effectiveness.
No, it was his
style.
Yes.
it was so smooth.
His mental approach to it.
Yes.
And then, unfortunately, he kind of lost that.
You're talking Bailey?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, and here's the other thing on Dan Bailey, and to your point, Boniel having to stick his neck out for him. You remember at AT&T Stadium, once training camp resumed back here, he was in a slump. That was his rookie season.
Right.
And there was one
2011, right?
2011.
It was the strike year that they didn't have any preseason.
Yeah, and so
not preseason. They didn't have any off-season.
Off-season.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but he was in a slump. And one of the practices out there, he missed like 3 out of 4 field goals. And we're 2 weeks away from the first game. And everyone, he had been kind of flawless before that. Everyone's scratching their head going, I think they got a problem at kicker now.
Right.
And
remember, they kept bringing veteran guys in.
And then, but he got it together, and he was as mentally strong a kicker as you will find for so many years, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
And by the way, to your point on Todd Bowles, I looked it up, and yes, in 1998 and 99, he was the defensive coordinator at Grambling.
That's crazy,
and that was prior. And then the following year in 2000, he became the secondary coach with the Jets, and then with the Browns, and then here with the Cowboys.
And you love to hear stories like that because the path taken is very unusual.
Mm-hmm.
So you just never know. People always ask me, well, can I don't think I can do this. I don't. Dude, everybody's story starts somewhere. So don't put yourself down before you even give yourself a chance. Who knew what Todd would be right back where he is now after being a DC at Grambling?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
And a head coach.
That's right.
And then back to being a defensive coordinator.
And, of course, he was Bruce Arians' DC at Arizona before he became the head coach of the Jets. And now he is the head coach in waiting whenever Bruce Arians decides to hang it up.
Good guy, too, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. And has always put together good defenses. I mean, look back at what Arians and Bowles did in Arizona. Arians took over in 2013, and it was just a couple of years later they're playing in the conference championship game against the Panthers.
Right, absolutely.
And how about it? Speaking of Arians, how about the quarterbacks he has coached in his career? And you go back in his history, and now he's 70 years old or whatever he is, and
go easy on
hey,
his first head coaching job, and by the way, this is something he has in common with Todd Bowles. Okay, his first head coaching job was at Temple at age 30 in the early 80s, Bruce Arians. Todd Bowles played for Temple and undrafted in 1986. And so that's how far back Bowles and Arians go.
That's good stuff.
He played
Very good there, Bill.
Played for Arians at Temple.
That is good stuff.
So the quarterbacks that Arians has coached. Now he's got Brady, and in Arizona he had Carson Palmer. He had Andrew Luck. He had Peyton Manning.
I was going to say Peyton.
He had Big Ben also in Pittsburgh. So,
hey, come on, man. Jameis Winston.
And Jameis Winston. And by the way, we talk a lot about Jameis Winston and his 30 picks or whatever. How many yards did he throw for year before last?
Not just yards.
30 touchdowns. At least, right?
He was 30 and 30. He was at 30. They could do a 30 for 30
great.
on him.
And that's what always gets me about Jameis Winston. He's so befuddling to everybody.
And he had 5,000 yards.
You talk about the interception. Oh, man, this guy's crazy. He threw for 30 interceptions. But, God, the other side of the ledger is amazing.
He's got one last chance.
And once again, you could imagine what Arian was trying to do to be the quarterback whisperer to Jameis Winston. I mean, do you blame him for the 30 picks or do you give him credit for the 30 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Well, and it gets back.
And the 5,000 yards. Give me a break.
But it also gets back to Arian's offensive philosophy. He is a vertical passing game, and that's where Brady had to get on the right page, on the same page with Arians, and vice versa. Arians on the same page with Brady to marry their two so many years of offensive football philosophies. I still have to say his defense put Brady and that offense in so many good situations during important times.
So you're telling me it's a good thing that Donovan Wilson and DeMonte KZ are ready to play.
That's right. The next thing where when we're looking at matchups in this game on Thursday night and the pressure that's going to be on the Cowboys secondary against this offense is going to be pretty unreal.
The pressure has got to be up front. them guys got to get there, and they know it. They've been preaching it all week about getting Brady off his spot.
And it's not necessarily sacks, because he was only sacked 21 times last year.
Get him to move.
Yeah, right.
Get him to move. And it started with Odigizua saying, "Well, yeah, he's not that mobile." Poor rookie. They asked him the question, what do you think his weakness is? And he goes, "Well, he's been in the league. He's 44 years old. He's not as mobile." And all of a sudden, it's like, "Oh, are you worried about giving Tom Brady bulletin board?"
Right.
I'm going, does Tom Brady really need that?
Well,
and then he came back.
That's why they asked the question as well.
Yeah.
They were trying to get it out.
Exactly.
That's right.
And then he came back and said, "Well, I don't think Tom Brady knows who I am or cares what I'm saying." Right?
Hey, if you have a rookie who says something stupid about Brady, there's going to be an alarm goes off with every reporter. They're going to end up right in front of his locker.
Oh, and they did,
Exactly.
and at least here anyway, right? And it's like, oh well, look what he said about Tom Brady. He can't move. Well, he's not as. If you leave him in the pocket, standing there patting the ball, you're in trouble.
You know what though? Now Brady may not know Odigizua's name. That's a hard name to know, okay? But he knows his number.
Well, he's changed numbers now, so he might get confused.
That's right. That's another thing that Brady.
He's in disguise. Does he know he's 97?
He was 75, and now he's 97.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So now we figured out why all the number changes here after the last preseason game,
and more this week too. By the way, some more numbers changed. Yeah.
So you got them at your disposal right there to fill us in here on our pregame show.
Everybody's changing numbers. It's like, no, I didn't write them down.
Well, you don't want to report them either, because then Brady would know.
They're probably listening to us right now.
You know Brady's listening.
Did you report what you think the Cowboys' record's going to be this year?
I did.
We're going to get to that in the last segment.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, we will get to that in the last segment. About that passing game for Tampa Bay, though, and Mr. Cornerback over here, Mr. Hall of Fame cornerback, okay?
Talking to me, right?
That's right.
Okay, check.
All right. Number 24 is not playing for the Cowboys. He's on IR, the rookie second-round draft pick, Kelvin Joseph.
Yeah.
Okay, but you got Trayvon Diggs, number 7 now. You got Anthony Brown.
Yep.
Okay. You got Jordan Lewis in the slot. You got at the safety position, you say that the safeties are ready to go?
KZ and Donovan Wilson. And then they'll bring in Jaron Curse.
Right.
At times.
What's going on with Malik Hooker?
And I don't know how if they're gonna use him or not. I mean, they've kind of eased him into things. I mean, that last preseason game was his first snap since he tore his Achilles. I don't know how they'll use him, or I assume he's going to be active, but who knows? Maybe.
What about
not.
Wright? Is Wright?
Nashawn Wright? I don't know if he'll be active either. You can only keep so many, right? Yeah. And if you keep Jordan Lewis as your third, Maurice Kennedy as your fourth, I guess you could keep one more cornerback.
I always forget about Jordan.
Yeah.
I just don't know why.
And he's starting, too, by the way.
And by the way, I didn't mention Kennedy, too, who's had a very good preseason.
And you're going to keep C.J. Goodwin for special teams persons and purposes, and he's technically a cornerback, too.
Okay, so I mentioned all those guys. Tampa Bay's receivers. You got 6'5" Mike Evans coming off a season in which he had 13 touchdown catches in the regular season.
And that was an off year.
He'll be wearing number 13 for them. Number 14, Chris Godwin, had 65 catches and 7 touchdowns in 12 games. Only 12 games. I'm going to save one guy here. Tight end, you got Gronk. O.J. Howard only played in 4 games last year with 1 start.
And they're listing him as a starter on their depth chart.
On their depth chart.
Both 2 tight ends.
They should.
Right.
He's a stud.
Right. So he was a first-round
from
draft
Alabama,
pick.
right?
Yeah, Alabama, first-round draft pick. All right, and then they've got Scott Miller, slot receiver, who had 33 catches last year. But it brings me...
Are you bearing the lead here?
It brings me to number 81, Antonio Brown. Okay. And remember when Antonio Brown caught the touchdown pass in the Super Bowl?
Yes.
And he had kind of been off people's radar, even though he had joined the team in midseason or whatever. And I hadn't really paid attention much to how many catches he had during the season. And I thought, oh, well, that is nice that Antonio Brown got his touchdown in the Super Bowl, whatever. Well, you go back and look at his numbers last season. He had 45 receptions and 4 touchdowns in 8 games. Double that. That's a 90-reception season there for Antonio Brown. And so what do you think it's done for Brady and Antonio Brown that they've now had an off-season together and a preseason together?
The fact that it's so quiet makes me nervous. No one's mentioning his name at all.
And if you look at, people keep talking about the Cowboys triplets at wide receiver.
And by the way, Arians said, and Arians basically this week was saying that he said the Cowboys might have the top trio of wide receivers in the league, but I like our guys.
Yeah, right. I'm sure that was coming.
Well, the question this morning around the talk radio was, which team has the best core of receivers?
Yeah.
And that was a big debate this
morning.
And
it's a good one, too.
It is a good one.
It's a real good one.
Because what you say, well, okay, the quarterbacks can separate them, can really separate them.
And one of the key things will be, so Gallup missed time early or last week, end of last week, beginning of this week. I think his significant other had the birth of a baby.
Oh, nice.
And then CD just getting back in the swing of things after his COVID. He was pretty funny the other day when he was talking about it. And he said, you get up in the morning and go brush your teeth and can't taste my toothpaste.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, I couldn't taste my toothpaste. And he goes,
you can't taste your toothpaste.
And then he said, suddenly, I got up one morning, I looked in the mirror, and it's like, oh, it's mint.
Well, that's a good sign.
So, yeah, I got his
because
taste
there's a lot of people that, you don't have your taste for a while.
Oh, wow.
And maybe that's a good sign that he had
like Gobert from Utah Jazz.
He had a lighter case of it.
A lighter case, maybe.
And I do think that is concerning. I was talking with a friend who has COVID right now about it and talking about the Cowboy players that are been either tested positive or whatever. In my own experience, had it. If you had it, depending on how bad it was, I can definitely see how it could affect an NFL player. You have to play at such a high level to compete. And I don't think you can, any of these guys, if they truly have had symptoms, some of them may not know for sure until they get out there and play in that heat and humidity in Tampa, where you've got to have, you got to be able to sustain it for a long time and play at a very high level. It's concerning.
Which was a fact I thought was overlooked last year with Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, he had it in June, whatever. Yeah, he didn't have an off season. He didn't have a preseason.
It's just a cold.
Right, yeah.
Myles Garrett was great talking about it. He had it during the season, and he said it lingered with him. But it's different for different people,
right?
But
that was, Zeke not in shape, or Zeke, wasn't this or that. Well, the offensive line wasn't in shape either, right? But he had that. Yeah. And we didn't, at that time, we had no idea what the effects would be on people.
We didn't know about long-term effects at that time.
Yeah.
And so now we're dealing with that. And so now you got athletes who have all of this talent, and they've got all of this physical ability. It attacks them just as hard, and sometimes worse than it would any Joe Blow out there who doesn't even play.
Especially because their job is to, from a physical standpoint, be at optimal level. And so when you watch Ndamukong Suh, I don't know if he had how bad his symptoms were or whatever. When he plays on Thursday night, it might be tough for him to go very long.
I'll tell you what, somebody put a little video on Twitter or maybe on the internet of him working out the other day, and he was doing one of those them tall block and dummy drills. Well, he sure didn't look like a guy that was zipping through those things. Now, I don't know if he was taking it easy or what, but you have to hit this one,
you got
to hit that one.
Kind of like you have to watch when you're scouting off a video, just like when Phil Simms is watching Dak Prescott on Hard Knocks and saying he's concerned about him.
I finally saw that. I don't know what the hell Phil's talking about. I was looking for it. I was looking for anything that would say, first of all, you can't tell anything You know, I mean, the passes were the passes, and they were just showing us as little as possible when it came
exactly.
to that. Yeah, we want to show, but
and the real good one, they showed him throw it. It was up in the air, and they never showed where it landed or who caught it. Or how far down the field.
But you
think that wasn't by design?
But they mainly isolated.
Take that out.
They mainly isolated on his throwing motion for the most part.
Right.
Which is where Phil thought he saw something.
Yeah, he's not throwing with velocity.
There's nothing to see. There was nothing to see.
Okay.
That's what happens when you have too much time between games.
That's right.
Well, we don't have too much time now.
Uh-oh.
Before the next game on Thursday night. And we are going to make our picks when we come back in a moment here on Mick Shots.
Yeah.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
Back to Mick Shots.
Does your Cowboys fandom go beyond the game? The NFL Fan of the Year contest presented by Captain Morgan is back, and we're relaunching the search for one extraordinary Cowboys fan who is a positive influence and inspires others through their love of the game. Nominate yourself or others for the chance to win a trip to Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles. Nominate today at DallasCowboys.com/fan of the year. Who will be playing in Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles?
Against the Cowboys.
Now that's the way you do a read, right there.
Everson says he wants to make picks, and so my question to Everson is, do you want to make picks just for this game? This is the start of the season.
I want to know how
do we
want
to make picks for the entire season,
That's
not
right.
only for the Cowboys, but for the rest of the National Football League?
We could do both. I'd love to, because you're looking at this is it, man. This is pretty exciting. I got all fired up when I watched college football this weekend. Now here we are. Everybody's doubting the Cowboys, the NFC East alone. Talking about Washington. Everybody's saying Washington's going to be the surprise team this year. You believe that?
Based on their defense last year?
Yeah, because they were a game better than the Cowboys.
Won the division with a 7-9 record.
That was my point.
So, I'm just very curious, not just the NFC East, but golly.
Okay, so where do we want to start on these picks? You want to pick this game first, or you want to go for the season first?
Let's pick this game.
This game first, okay. All right, so we'll pick winners, and we'll pick picks to click as well. Everson, you want to go first?
Yeah, I do. I want to go winner. I believe it or not, this is going to be good for the Cowboys, but I think they're going to lose.
Okay. It's going to be good for the Cowboys.
It's going to be good for the Cowboys. When you start off putting so much hype on one game. I don't go for that because there's so much more football to be played.
And there's 17 this year.
Yeah, one more than usual. So, no, I'm not necessarily worried about this game. Tampa Bay is the more polished team at this point. There's no doubt about it. How the Cowboys will play, if they play an over-inspired ball, I don't know. I hope they do. But otherwise, I just want to see if we can make plays. I want to see if defensively we can make some plays. I want to see if defensively we know how to stop the run. I want to see if defensively we can have our mojo moments. Those things are important. You can have a mojo moment and still lose the game. But I want to see if you can come through and make a play, not just as a team, but certain individuals. Their reputation is going to be on the line for this first game.
See, I think that's the hard thing to judge this team. I think you have a certain level of confidence with the offense. And if you look at, what they did last year after the Rams game, they ended up with 4 games of 500 yards of offense. Now, are we going to get that again at this point with Dak coming back but not having played in any snaps in preseason, which he didn't the year before, by the way?
No one wants to bring that up.
Yeah, and then defensively, is what we see really what we're going to get? Because what we see so far looks pretty good. They've been pretty good in the preseason games when the starters were out there. But again, you're playing against offenses that are very vanilla, and who knows how long teams are playing their first guys. But it's been at least 2 series, 3 series that they've gone up against, and they've really the only downside was the third game after the interception. The interception that they got the ball at like the 23-yard line or something like that, and they drove right down and scored the touchdown. But that's the only touchdown the first string has given up.
Yes.
Other than that, it's been field goals. So we'll find out. Now, unfortunately, they're going up against one of the best offenses in the league right off the bat. It's not like you starting against Missouri State or something.
You didn't want to say Missouri. You just had to throw state in.
I was going to say Central Michigan, but they gave Missouri all they could handle.
Or you're going to say Tulane, and they gave OU all they could handle.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's like it's hard to judge it, I think. Now, from an overall standpoint, I feel pretty good about this team. If the defense can do half as good, maybe, or half better than what they did last year.
I'm looking at some of the matchups. And so you talk about pick to click, some matchups that are going to be extremely important. Of course, Ezekiel Elliott, that's going to be extremely important on how he's able to run the ball, take the pressure off of Dak.
Against the number 1 run defense in the league last year.
Exactly.
So how do you, if you were the offensive coordinator, how do you attack this defense? Do you think you can run against them, or do you have to throw to be able to run against them?
I would do what we do, and that's because we have no choice. We can't break away from the run game. That's just not possible. We have Zeke Elliott. There's no way we're doing that, and we're certainly not shying away from the passing game because that's what we do. So I'm not worried about offensively if we stick with the game plan. How effective it will be, that's obviously a whole other thing, which brings me to my pick to click. Tyron Smith is going to be extremely important in this game, and I'm so curious to see how he plays because if he plays the entire season, this changes our entire look, especially coming from last year.
Because it changes your ability to run the ball.
That's right.
To run the ball.
And protect them from the backside.
Because they could not run the ball with those tackles last year.
Right.
We
found out how important tackles are last year.
Or reinforced how important we thought they were.
That's right.
And so that's the the kind of the curious thing. I think this offense can function. So to me, it's like defensively. Can they get pressure on opposing quarterbacks? Because they didn't do a very good job of it last year.
Just 31 sacks last year.
Yeah, and
I'm not worried about the sacks as much as can we stop the run?
That's the other thing too.
That's the main thing. Can we stop the run?
I think the linebackers are in better positions this year to take advantage of what they can do. You know, for all the heat Jalen Smith gets, and if they're going to play a tight end, if they're going to play both of those tight ends, the Cowboys are going to be in base. He's going to be in the middle, and he needs to be going downhill. Van Der Esch needs to be where he wasn't last year. And then Micah Parsons, they don't know where he's going to be, which is key, I think, to this defense. Now, can the front hold up? Because you lost a very good guy in Neville Gallimore. I think that injury hurts him as bad as anything, other than Zach. But, yeah, if they can hold up in the front and they've got so many guys that they can move inside in nickel situations to create pressure. You know, quiet as it's been kept, Terrell Basham is practicing. You know, he missed the last half of training camp. He's a guy that can move inside. They can move DeMarcus Lawrence inside if they wanted to, or Armstrong, and get all these guys on the field with Randy Gregory.
Another nice pick to click, by the way.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You know, he's my guy. I before training camp, I said this is the guy that really had to step up, that they need this guy to become relevant.
A lot of real good football people, football minds, have been looking at Randy Gregory hard.
Yes.
And want to make sure they take a good look at him this year.
So,
so your pick was Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Pick to click is Tyron.
Okay. So that is regardless. That's regardless of what the score is, you think Tyron's going to have a good game.
Matchups. That's why I appreciate it. Matchups are extremely important in this game because we have to see a lot of the guys that were hurt last year. They're going to have big-time matchups this year.
Let me ask you this. If the Cowboys are to win this game, is Tyron Smith your pick to click that he's got to play well for them to win the game?
If we win this game, it's going to be partly because of him.
Okay. All right.
Mine would be Randy Gregory.
If the Cowboys are going to win, your pick to click is Randy Gregory.
He's going to have to emerge and be what I think he can be this year. Because just watching him, you know, they gave him that week off, and when he came back that next time in practice, he was like shot out of a cannon.
The fact that we haven't heard much from him, I think that's a good thing.
Right?
Yes.
And although I think we're going to hear from him today. I think he's going to be one of the
guys
players.
That's cool. That's cool.
What time is that supposed to be?
2:30, I think.
2:30?
Yep.
Okay. So, I think it's hard to pick the Cowboys to win this game. Yeah. I think the key thing is that come out and play well. A lot of people are picking them to lose 44-10. I just think they're better than that, right? I just think they're better than that to keep it close in the 20s, even if they get beat.
I mean, you look at this Tampa Bay team, and with everybody coming back, I mean, it kind of mirrors the Cowboys in '95 when they opened the season at the Giants and won 35-0. I mean, it's that kind of team coming back and in sync and so forth. That's what I think. That's kind of what the Cowboys are up against,
right?
In this game.
And the only guy they might have missing from the starting lineup is their safety, Jordan Whitehead. He's got a hamstring. He didn't practice yesterday. We'll see what this practice report has for today.
So you have a score.
How about, 26-21, 26-25? I think it's going to be a close game. I really do. I think that we're going to see how important Dan Quinn is to this team by what they do defensively.
31-20.
31-20?
I think they'll score in the last so many minutes just to kind of put it away. But, 31-20.
And I got about 30-20 also, Tampa Bay. And my pick to click for the Cowboys is Michael Parsons. I think he's going to have a big first game in the NFL.
By the way, this is the first time I've ever picked against the Cowboys.
Ever. So that tells you how sure he is about this pick.
It's the pandemic thing, man.
My pick to click for Tampa Bay is their safety, Antoine Winfield.
Okay.
I just want to mention him.
Is he safety? I thought it was a corner.
He's a safety, but he has corner skills, and he can play the slot corner.
He played the slot. That's why I thought he played corner.
Yeah. So, but their corners are Carlton Davis, who had 4 interceptions last year, Sean Murphy Bunting, who had 1 pick last year, and then they've got their third corner is Jamel Dean. But at safety, Antoine Winfield is listed as a strong safety.
And speaking as a guy that feasted off of his defensive line, I think that's what their secondary does. Their corners, if you're going to look at them, to me, except for Winfield, I think that's the weakness of the squad.
Okay, we got like 1 minute left, so we need to make our picks. Let's go all the way to the Super Bowl.
10-7. 10-7.
10-7 for the Cowboys.
Yep, winning the NFC East.
Winning the NFC East, and how far do they go in the playoffs?
Oh, I'm looking for them to go all the way after that.
Okay.
Now, we're going to be
Super
like Tampa.
Bowl 56,
we're going to improve timely, just in a timely fashion, just the way good teams
win the last
always
8 games all the way to Super Bowl 56.
I'll go 6
just like
2.
Tampa Bay.
6-2. I say 6-2. We can.
So who
roll
they playing?
On in.
Who are we playing in the Super Bowl?
KC.
KC.
That's
okay. All right. That was my Super Bowl pick last year.
Right.
That was a good pick.
It was. That's it.
And Cowboy win over the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
That's a tough one. Mahomes, man. It's hard to go against my homeboy. That's hard. I don't know about that one, Bill. I'm going to hold off on that one.
So, Mickey, what do you got?
I had in my column, I said if the defense can be average, that they can transpose 6-10 to 10-6.
That's right.
And then I had to add, there's an extra game. So how about 10-7?
Mm-hmm.
So you got 10-7. You got 10-7.
Oh,
I might as well say 10-7 also. So for the 16th straight year, 17th straight year, how many straight years is it? We will have a different NFC East champion than what we had the year before.
The last time the repeat was
04.
Philadelphia won like 4 straight from 01 through 04.
I gotta say, with this squad, I'm very surprised that we hadn't doubled up on NFC East wins. I really am.
And think about
that shows how quality the NFC East is.
No doubt. Not last year. But
when I've been asked the question, and I was on with the guys for the one of the radio stations in Washington D.C. and then the guys at the Giants.com. And they were asking me about will the Cowboys win it? And I said, well, you answer me this. Who has the best quarterback in the division?
That's
pretty simple, right? And he's ready to go, by the way, Phil.
Okay, I'm going with 10-7. Cowboys win the NFC East. Where did I write this down? And my Super Bowl teams are Kansas City and Green Bay. Kansas City.
Aaron Rodgers is going to come back with a vengeance?
Yep, that's what I got. Okay.
Jordan Love.
So we'll close it out with. How about we close it out with Mick's pick? Okay, for the Super Bowl and what the Cowboys are going to do, and we're going to call it Mick's shot. Mick's parting shot. Do we have?
It's Mickey's minute, huh? I was going to go Kansas City and Green Bay myself.
Were you really?
Yeah. I don't know. I got to see Tampa Bay do this. Does a team have a Super Bowl hangover? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see right away, right? Mm-hmm. But there's so many. It's just hard to repeat like that. Kansas City, I just don't see anybody else in the NFC East that gets me all excited. Do you have a second choice in the AFC?
Well, I've got Kansas City and Buffalo playing in the AFC Championship game, and Green Bay and the Rams in the NFC Championship game.
Wow, you think Matthew Stafford has it like that?
I think.
Okay.
Yep. That's what I've got over there.
I hope Detroit does.
Now, the big thing for Tampa Bay playing in that division with Atlanta, Carolina, and New Orleans without Drew Brees, they're going to rack up some wins just in their division.
Yes,
so
they will. And that's what the Cowboys need to do in the NFC East.
That's right.
If they're going to get to our 10 wins.
All right. So there you have it. It may not start out the way you want it to start out, but it sounds like it's going to win to end the way you want it to, especially if you're trusting in the future Hall of Famer Everson Walls.
That's how it goes.
And in the true spirit of Dan Quinn, this game is not an end. It's a beginning.
That's right.
And so we can build on what we're doing defensively. So we'll see if what he said is accurate.
All right, and we will reconvene on Friday afternoon, right?
I believe so, and I should be back by then.
What time?
Okay. TBD.
TBD, mid-afternoon or so,
Yeah.
right? Afternoon sometime.
So I can't.
Because we have to fly
I
back.
can't drink too much during the game, right?
Chris said 1:30, so maybe it's 1:30.
I got to be ready for maybe.
Okay, we're talking 1:30. We're talking 1:30. All right, that does it for Mick Shots. Enjoy opening night in the National Football League, and we'll talk at you again on Friday.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?